contrary, you asked me to print off 1,000 copies, leaving me the liberty to accept or not the verbal changes which you suggested. Accordingly, I got 1,000 copies printed, which are now lying with me. 8 days later, you write to say that you object to the address, and that if it is not amended, the conference will be canceled. You ought to have known that there was no hope of any alteration being made in the address. I told you when you were in Bombay that I would not alter a comma, that I would not allow any censorship over my address, and that you would have to accept the address as it came from me. I also told you that the responsibility for the views expressed in the address was entirely mine, and if they were not liked by the conference, I would not mind at all if the conference passed a resolution condemning them. So anxious was I to relieve your Mandel from having to assume responsibility for my views, and also with the object of not getting myself entangled by too intimate an association with your conference, I suggested to you that I desired to have my address treated as a sort of an inaugural address, and not as a presidential address, and that the Mandel should find someone else to preside over the conference and deal with the resolutions. Nobody could have been better placed to take a decision on the 14th than your committee. The committee failed to do that, and in the meantime, cost of printing has been incurred, which I am sure, with a little more firmness on the part of your committee, could have been saved. I feel sure that the views expressed in my address have little to do with the decision of your committee. I have reasons to believe that my presence at the Sikh Prachar conference held at Amritsar has had a good deal to do with the decision of the committee. Nothing else can satisfactorily explain the sudden volte-face shown by the committee between the 14th and the 22nd April. I must not, however, prolong this controversy, and must request you to announce immediately that the session of the conference which was to meet under my presidentship is cancelled. All the grace has by now run out, and I shall not consent to preside, even if your committee agreed to accept my address as it is in toto. I thank you for your appreciation of the pains I have taken in the preparation of the address. I certainly have profited by the labor if no one else does. My only regret is that I was put to such hard labor at a time when my health was not equal to the strain it has caused. Yours sincerely, B.R.Ambedkar. This correspondence will disclose the reasons which have led to the cancellation by the Mandel of my appointment as president, and the reader will be in a position to lay the blame where it ought properly to belong. This is, I believe, the first time when the appointment of a president is canceled by the reception committee because it does not approve of the views of the president. But whether that is so or not, this is certainly the first time in my life to have been invited to preside over a conference of caste Hindus. I am sorry that it has ended in a tragedy. But what can anyone expect from a relationship so tragic as the relationship between the reforming sect of caste Hindus and the self-respecting sect of untouchables, where the former have no desire to alienate their orthodox fellows and the latter have no alternative but to insist upon reform being carried out? Rajgriha, Dadar, Bombay, 14th-15th May 1936, B.R.Ambedkar speech prepared by Dr. B.R.Ambedkar for the 1936 annual conference of the Jat-Pat Todak Mandal of Lahore, but not delivered. Owing to the cancellation of the conference by the reception committee on the ground that the views expressed in the speech would be unbearable to the conference friends, I am really sorry for the members of the Jat-Pat Todak Mandal who have so very kindly invited me to preside over this conference. I am sure they will be asked many questions for having selected me as the president. The Mandal will be asked to explain as to why it has imported a man from Bombay to preside over a function which is held in Lahore. I believe the Mandal could easily have found someone better qualified than myself to preside on the occasion. I have criticized the Hindus. I have questioned the authority of the Mahatma, whom they revere. They hate me. To them I am a snake in their garden. The Mandal will no doubt be asked by the politically minded Hindus to explain why it has called me to fill this place of honor. It is an act of great daring. I shall not be surprised if some political Hindus regard it as an insult. This selection of mine cannot certainly please the ordinary religiously minded Hindus. The Mandal may be asked to explain why it has disobeyed the Shastric injunction in selecting the president. According to the Shastras, the Brahmin is appointed to be the guru for the three Varnas. OKK Zuk is a direction of the Shastras.